The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Storybrooke Weekly Mirror in Wonderland, the unofficial Once Upon a Time in Wonderland internet radio show exclusively on PapiChuloRadio.com. Papi Chulo Radio, pop culture on demand. I'm your host, Papi Chulo. During tonight's broadcast, we're going to revisit ABC's Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Later on in the broadcast, get ready for a spoiler alert as we bring you the hit ABC series' Easter eggs and ratings. Please welcome my wondrous co-hosts. Shh, jabber, jabber, jabber. All you people do is jabber. It's Priscilla.
Oh, thank you so much. That is like the best compliment for me to be this character. Hello, everybody. We have a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a good episode.
Next up, it's her house he's holding now, and frankly, she hates it. There isn't even a toilet. It's Jess.
Hi, guys.
I thought that was very appropriate, considering it's you, Jess.
I know, I was like, oh, he said toilet. It's my time to shine.
Yes. And her former subjects are willing to let her get eaten alive by mome raths. It's Brittany.
I wouldn't be surprised if people betrayed me. Hey, guys.
Jess would never betray you.
Yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you
Wait.
would. Everyone betrays me.
Yes, you would.
What is the bounty here? What are we talking about? What are you going to give me if I betray Brittany?
10
Okay.
shillings.
Got a caught. Everybody's got a price.
Not worth it. Not worth it. Don't worry, Brittany. I'm with you till the end.
A golden
Alright.
mushroom.
What do I do with that? I can't eat it.
Why not? You don't like mushrooms?
No, I love mushrooms, but it's golden. It's not like I can, put it in some rice.
A
No, they're
bejeweled
not-
crown.
They're talking about them like golden delicious apples. Like
You'd
they're
have
just
to,
different color.
You'd have to, custom make the crown because my head shape is really odd. I couldn't even fit, the graduation cap over my head. It was a problem.
Well, this is a really long introduction.
It really is.
Sorry, guys.
Well, since Brittany wants us to move along, let's jump into our recap of episode 1.10, which was titled Dirty Little Secrets, and originally aired on March 13th, 2014. Here's the official synopsis of the episode. In flashback, Cyrus's actions lead to a fateful day that leaves his mother near death, resulting in a decision that comes with a binding price he and his brothers have to pay. Meanwhile, after banding together, Alice, Cyrus, the Knave of Hearts, and the Red Queen split up into two groups that leaves the Knave and the Red Queen face to face with the fearful Jabberwocky, and Cyrus's guilt about his past tests his relationship with Alice. So I want to get everyone's initial reaction to this episode. Upon rewatching this episode, what did everyone think initially? And let's start off with Priscilla.
Holy shit! Like that Jabberwocky death, was so cool. Is it weird that the negative shit stands out for me like that, and the torture scene with the Red Queen, and I don't know, just the whole story and kind of how everything encapsulates itself and is perfect with you when you find out that the person who trained Jafar is the mother of Genie. Everything tied in together perfectly, and we didn't have Alice bitching.
And I know you love a good eyeball.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That was I don't know, like for me, eyes are like sacred. So that part where she's like, I got these for you. I'm like, please no. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see her eyeballs. Fuck this shit. Mm-mm.
Well,
Don't mess
damn.
with people's eyeballs. Like, just don't mess with balls in general.
Sorry.
That's what she said. Brittany, save us. Your initial reaction.
Oh man.
Do you
this
mess
is,
with balls?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
No, just,
Apparently, Jess
episode-
hits and runs them.
This episode is freaking fantastic. I think the Jabberwocky definitely gave us a great introduction last episode, and then like the payoff was amazing in this episode. Like she gave us a taste, a little tease of what's to come, and believe me, I didn't know what the fuck was to come. Like I didn't know. I thought she would play around with people, but man, we got a taste of her, like of the power to break somebody, and oh, amazing. I think I absolutely adored everything in the present, and even the backstory was actually quite interesting. And I did predict one of the little twists in it, but I thought it was awesome. I still liked it because I do like Cyrus a lot, and I praised him last episode, and he was my MVP. And I always knew that there was more to him than him being the voice of reason, being calm and collected. I knew we had to know his backstory. How did he become a genie? And what else is there to his story? And how was he back then? How much has he changed? And I just loved everything that they gave us this episode. Really good.
Jess, what about you? What are your initial thoughts on the episode?
Brittany pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. I think
Brittany, you're always taking the words out of people's moughs.
That's the only thing I
it's a
take out.
talent she has.
Oh, God.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Jess, you're very pervy, and I like it.
See that kind of stuff, folks.
Oh my goodness. But yes. No.
But yes, no.
That is my reaction. Thank you, Brittany, for taking the words out of my mouth.
You're welcome, Jeff.
Was it painful?
Yes, because they collided with my wisdom teeth.
Oh, oh my God.
Those are some big words.
Okay, I'll try to save the ship. I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a very strong episode. Jabberwocky, Jabberwocky, Jabberwocky. She was phenomenal throughout this episode. The Red Queen, an all-star in this episode. She ran the gamut of the emotions. Jafar is a tricky son of a bitch, and he was phenomenal in this episode. And then the whole revelation with Cyrus and what he did and the big reveal and all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. I mean, I thought the flashbacks were so good, and I mean, it was so great to see. It was certainly a chapter in the past that we needed to see, and I'm so glad that they saved it to now because the payoff was really, really good. So, before we get into our thorough recap, here are a few reminders on how you can interact with the show via social media.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Storybrooke Weekly Mirror. Follow Poppy Chula Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Poppy Chula Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychularadio.com. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chula Radio team as an on-air personality? Email talent@poppychularadio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chula Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives.
So let's start off tonight's broadcast by going through the flashbacks, because I feel it was a very linear story, and I feel like we have a lot to say about it. So I'll go sort of like bullet point style what we saw. So Cyrus has, well, I should start off in the past, many years ago in Agrabah. Cyrus and his brothers are playing cards in, I guess they're at the local watering hole. And Cyrus is cheating in the game, and he cheats these guys out of their money and the winnings, and they actually accuse Cyrus of cheating, but Cyrus denies it. So upon heading back home after getting their drinky drink on at the watering hole, they see the same men at their house, and they ride off away from the home, and they see that these men have lit a fire inside the house, and the house is burning down, and their mother is inside. Oh no! So the mother survives, but she has been badly burned, and it appears as if she is at death's doors. But Cyrus had heard about the Well of Wonders, and apparently it can bring good health to people, it can turn a selfish person into a generous person, and all this kind of stuff. So after debating it between his brothers, they decide to head on over to the Well of Wonders. And they end up approaching the well, and they start taking the water from the well. But once they start filling they have like little satchels and stuff, or whatever you want to call them, with the water. This woman pops up who looks a bit like Samara from The Ring, and she says that her name is Nyx, and she is a protector of the water. And basically she says that they need to return the water because the water will only work for those whose fates have not yet been written. And she says that their mother is destined to die. And she also warns the trio that if they don't return the water that they've collected, they will pay, the price. And so remember, magic always comes with a price. So she descends back down into her little jacuzzi of wonders. And Cyrus's brothers, they want to pour the water back, but Cyrus is like, no, we need to, we can't have mother die, for my mistakes and all this kind of stuff. And so they're like, this isn't like cheating poker, this is messing with the gods. But Cyrus is like, I don't care, we need to save mother. And so they arrive back at their home, and they start, pouring the water into their mother's mouth, and it's not working. And so he's like, pass me your other satchels. And so he ends up like pouring the water all over her body. So it's almost like, she's part of like a wet t-shirt contest or something. It was kind of weird. And so they're pouring all the water, and like there's this lady next to them, and they're like, I guess it was her time to go. But no, it wasn't. She instantly gets the breath back into her body, and she awakens, and the bandages get removed, and bum-ba-da-dum, their mother is, if this was the mothership, I'd be saying Granny, but no, it's not Granny. It is Amara, aka the same woman who taught Jafar everything he knows, aka the woman who was Jafar's mentor, aka the woman who ended up banging Jafar many moons ago. Yes, well, she played with his staff, and she's currently his staff.
I knew you were going to make that joke.
I apologize. You tempted me. I had to take the bait. So she's surprised that she's revived. She's like, she feels as if she's been asleep for like 100 years. And then all of a sudden, one of the brothers is like, well, we use magic. And she's like, what? Magic? And she's like, explain this to me. And basically explains the Well of Wonders and the water, and they stole it. And she's like, you stole it? She's like, oh no, all of you need to flee Agrabah, get as far away from Agrabah as you can, because she's going to be coming. She might not realize it right now, but she's going to be coming. And remember the woman that had taken off Amara's bandages and was taking care of her? As she took away like the canteens or whatnot where they stole the water, like a little bit of the water dropped out, and so a puddle was made, and the girl from The Ring ends up popping up again, and she demands that the water be returned, and she's like, I told you, if you stole the water, this is what's going to happen to you. So you stole the water to cheat fate and to serve your own desires. Well, now all of you will be serving the desires of others. And we see the lamps that we've seen before on a little, let's call it a nightstand. I don't know if that's what they would call it in Agrabah, but those lamps start glowing, and the brothers three end up smokifying and entering the lamps. Cyrus says to his mother, "I'm sorry, mother," and he ends up getting sucked into a lamp, and then all of a sudden the lamps disappear, and Amara screams, "No!" Just like that. And that's the flashback. So let's talk about it, because I loved the flashback. I thought it was really good. I thought the reveal was really great, because when I initially saw this, like many, many moons ago, I was not expecting it to be Amara at all. And once they revealed that it would be her, it was a pleasant surprise, and everything started to make sense as to why she wanted the lamps, the bottles, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was interesting, and it was another one of those like weird family tree type of things, because she ended up banging Jafar, and then Jafar ended up like capturing her sons. So it's kind of like that whole convoluted mess from the mothership, sort of infiltrated its way here into the spin-off with like the weird family tree and the weird family dynamic. What did everyone think of the flashback? Let's start off with Jess.
Holy crap!
Holy Toledo!
When I first watched the episode, I was like, oh, this can't be Amara. Like, oh my god, they wouldn't go there. And then they went there, and I was like, oh, my mind was but then also I was like kind of grossed out because
she had sex with Jafar?
Yes, and
she played with his staff?
Yes, and also she has 3 kids already, and they're full grown, and like Cyrus looks younger than Jafar, so does that mean that like Jafar could have been, their stepfather? Like that would just be super creepy.
And you were already talking about the rest of the cast wasn't here for this. Amara's sandpaper vagina.
Yes, that's creepy. But like, okay, so at this point, are we thinking like she was evil the whole time, or like she was doing this to save her sons, or like I don't know? My vagina just cringed.
Oh my gosh!
Again, just thinking about Amara and Jafar in that new light.
I heard it this time though, Jess.
Threw up a little bit in my mouth. It was just gross.
Okay, so
shout out #Jess's cringing vagina. It made a return.
Gross though, man. Like gross.
Kind of exactly the opposite when I get to this. I'm kind of like, you know what? We lambast guys all the time, like for like, but we never like tell them shit when it's like some rapscallion 40-ish looking guy with some like really hot 20-year-old chick. It happens in fucking like cinema all the goddamn time. Hell, like there's franchises with vampires where we have like fucking 200-year-old virgin guys with like Bella, basically. Like,
so, oh my.
You know what?
He was a virgin?
Yes.
Oh, I never saw it, and I never cared to.
Good. I wasted my life watching that.
Katie's not here, so we can talk bad about Twilight.
But see, so I don't feel like bad about her being with Jafar. You know what?
Oh no, I don't either. I just think it's weird.
If they're like, 2 hot people, why the fuck not? I just find it really weird that she kind of like raised him.
Yeah, that's what Jess said during that episode. She found it odd that basically she raised him, and then they ended up banging.
But it happens a lot in other like fantasy series where like it's an older mentor figure, and like they fall in love, and somehow like they end up being together. Like it's acceptable when it's a guy and a girl, like the opposite way around, but it's not this way. And you know what? I don't care. Like I liked that together because they're both very, very attractive. And Agrabah apparently has very attractive people because those 3 brothers, god damn, like they would make a BuzzFeed list of like hottest on Once Upon a Time and Once Upon a Time in Wonderland because they're very attractive. And finally we get to see Cyrus not be fucking like just the dashing Prince Charming, like boring hero. Like he's got something to him. Like he used to be a card cheating kind of like rapscallion, like, and I like that, like.
It's all his fault.
And we gave Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean a job, so.
No, that's Samara from The Ring.
It's totally Calypso. Like, she looks dead, like, and all.
It's a combination of both.
It is. It's their offspring.
All I thought about was The Ring when she's coming out of the TV and the well. Like, that's all I saw, and then with dreads, and I'm like, girl, comb your hair. Comb your hair. I mean,
fix your weave.
She's in water, for Christ's sake, and why does her hair look like she hasn't washed it in like 1,000 years? Like, what
disturbs my slumber?
Yeah,
well, technically, she doesn't look like she's wet either.
Like, holy shit! Like, no.
But that whole time, like, have you guys ever seen that, like, that GIF or like that meme where it's like Ron Burgundy and he's just kind of like, well, that escalated quickly, like. That's how I felt the entire time watching this shit. I was like, wow, like that. They didn't even give us a minute with that shit. Like it went from I cheated with cards to someone's burning my fucking house down to the pouring water on this corpse and her coming back and then turning.
Oh gosh! For a second, I thought you said pouring water.
Wow, look at you thinking about like wet t-shirt contests and fucking. Porn water.
I didn't want a contest from this chick.
Well, yeah. No, but it was kind of weird how they were pouring the waters on her boobs. And, like, her bosoms were very ample.
Yeah, I expected their mom to look a little older. And when I saw that her chest looked very intact, I was like...
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, I bet you anything this is definitely... this is gonna be that sorceress. I'm like, is it that sorceress? It's gonna be that sorceress. Yep. And then I was like, damn, you hot. Like, what was she like 15 when she started having kids? Cause damn.
Well, remember they don't have TV back in the day, so you
I
gotta
mean,
do something.
At 15, okay, I guess that okay. I won't shame people. You do you. Even though they don't have their dad, so I'm gonna guess she was a whore.
Oh my gosh.
Which
no,
I don't frown.
Well,
on her,
I will say they all don't look alike.
Beforehand, like so, and she knew the rules about the Well of Wonders, so she wasn't a whore. She was an enchantress or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Oh, okay, so she had powers before all this.
Yes, she had powers before.
Oh yeah, she knew about magic.
I didn't get that memo. I just thought that she was actually very young and that the water like made her kind of like evil or something, or I don't know. That's what I got out of it. Maybe I didn't pay attention, but okay.
Jess, just because I know you're gonna have an excellent response, what did you think of Amara's bosom?
I didn't really notice it, to be honest with you. Now I feel terrible that I didn't. I'm sure it's very nice. I just didn't notice it.
Well, that's the perfect answer.
Yes.
Oh, Jess. So any final thoughts on the flashback?
Now we kind of know what the timeline here. So she's with her sons. Her sons fuck up. They turn into genies.
Yeah,
so
and they've been genies for like hundreds of years.
So she decides, I'm going to use my magic to find out all I can about genies, to round them up together to have my sons. And she trains Jafar to help that, and Jafar fucks shit up and now wants to take the genies for himself.
That's true. And I wanted to talk about how you were saying, Priscilla, that you liked how Cyrus was different. Yeah, I agree that I enjoyed seeing this side of Cyrus, how he's young and daring and
rapscallion.
And maybe even, a little bit of I can't think of the word, but definitely conniving, devious.
You're a sucker for the bad boys.
Yes, and playing the cards and did he cheat? Did he not? I like that. He's like a playful, type of guy. But I like that after being a genie, he's kind of calmed down, but he hasn't lost that creative thinking after his years of being in the bottle. And I love that. I love that he's matured into this person, but he also has a playful side. I don't see old Cyrus and Alice being a thing. I see present Cyrus and Alice being together. And I like seeing this past side of him. And he was definitely the youngest brother, I would assume, right? I think that's what they said. Or they didn't really
I think the one that blurted the magic was probably younger.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think he's the middle one.
Oh, okay. Well, then either way, I really liked that Cyrus was kind of a leader, even though he was the youngest, and I really liked that he stood out from his brothers, to be honest, and I really enjoyed that. Um, yeah, and the backstory, all of that was really cool. The ring chick, I mean, that's some scary shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into the present day. We have our heroes. They're laying low in the hidden love nest in the Outlands, and they're trying to figure out how to defeat Jafar and his magic. So they're like, we need an army, and it's something that they no longer have, despite the Red Queen's, notion that she can win back the people. So they create a new plan, and they're like, if the curse set upon all the genies can be lifted, then Jafar will no longer hold their power. So Cyrus decides to return back to the place where they were cursed, a place called the Well of Wonders, whose guardian cursed the brothers. But that well is all the way in Agrabah. But the Red Queen has a solution. She basically is like, magic waters, flow under all the lands, and there is a version of that well in Wonderland, which is interesting to think about, because if we think about the mothership, for those that have seen the mothership, there was a similar well. There is a similar well in Storybrooke. There's a similar well or a location like that in the Enchanted Forest, and there's also a similar location like that in Neverland. So we've seen this before without sort of like putting it together in simple terms like the Red Queen stated in this episode. So I thought that was really interesting. So they decide to search for this location. So elsewhere, we see that the aftermath of the fireworks and the beer chugging from the poorest town in all the realm. The villagers are passed out from having a good time and glug glug glugging as much as they could. And we see our good friend, the Jabberwocky, creepily slithering all over town. She saunters through the scene until she finds her victim. And she wakes him up. She demands to know where the genie went and who the genie was with. And, without the man saying anything, she immediately goes out, and goes in, I should say, into his mind, and she exposes his fears, that the Jabberwocky will murder his wife and children, and yes, even the baby, as the Jabberwocky said. She whispers something into his ear, causing him to quickly give up the location of Lizard's house. And he basically is like, what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to me? And then she's like, don't worry, because you've already been scared to death. And so the man dies. So the Jabberwocky heads on over to Lizard's house, disappointed to have found, Lizard's dead body. But she ends up stealing Lizard's eyes and delivering them to Jafar. So back at Jafar's palace, the Jabberwocky provides the eyes, and she's like, well, you're a sorcerer. I figured you know what to do with this. And so he uses the eyes to create a potion, and in the puff of smoke from the potion, he ends up seeing the Red Queen hovering over Lizard. And so he's like, the Red Queen has the bottle. So he sends the Jabberwocky to the Red Queen. Let's talk about this scene with the Jabberwocky in the town. Wasn't it creepy as fuck and so damn good? Jess, were you quivering and shaking?
I was scared. To be honest, I was scared. The actress that plays the Jabberwocky, and her name escapes me right now, and I feel terrible for it.
Pizza Sargent.
Yes, her. She does so well as the Jabberwocky. Like, it is amazing. And I really wish that we had gotten to see more of these characters. I know I always, mourn the series for being pretty short, but she was a truly stunningly terrifying villain, and I think that is one thing that they absolutely nailed.
What do you think she whispered to him? And this goes out to everyone. Like, what do you think she whispered to him that we couldn't hear?
All of his greatest fears. Like, the way she kind of, like, got in and, like, told the story to Jafar of how he feels scared when he gets drowned, and he kind of looks like he's choking on water. That's probably like one of the biggest nightmares that he has, and she just kept going with the story and being descriptive about it until he dies. That's what I thought.
I like that. Yeah, it was a really creepy and unsettling scene, and the way that he just died, from being scared to death.
Yeah.
We sort of mentioned The Ring earlier, but it was certainly a very much The Ring moment.
I completely forgot that she kills people with fear. You're right. But I remember watching this when she's just kind of like, you're wondering, is she going to find the children? You're wondering, is she going to kill them? Like, and you're wondering, like, is she going to hurt the baby? And the answers are very quickly, very slowly, and yes. Oh my God. I got chills over, like, it was amazing. Like, the Jabberwocky is the best.
She don't play?
Mm-hmm.
At all.
And, like, that pose she has where she's just kind of, like, lying down on the throne, and then when she, like, walks over and, like, kind of, like, lies down on the red recliner, I'm like, bitch, you look as good there as the fucking Red Queen did. Like, slay. She's awesome. Creepy, but awesome.
I completely agree. Yeah. Good grief, Jabberwocky. Can I just say, I thought it was weird how that spell worked, because you would think that the last thing that Lizard saw would be like Will going into the bottle, as opposed to the Red Queen hovering over her. You know? Like, I would have thought that it would be like the last image that she saw, as opposed to maybe like the last thing that was there, kind of like the Forget-Me-Not.
It's actually like an old, like, fringe science sort of thing. It's called optography, where it's the belief that the eye records the last thing, like, before, like, death. So, like, and you have moments, like, in other shows they've shown this before, where, like, you're right, like, it's the moment the character sees before they die, and some, like, fringe are like the eye still kind of keeps seeing even after, like, the body's dead, because the brain's still sending out still firing out synapses. So, like, it changes from, like, arc to arc, like, from different things.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting nonetheless. It was kind of weird. So, alright, so we have the Red Queen and the Knave in another part of Wonderland, and they're busy sort of like with their part of the plan, and so they head out to search for the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit initially is very reluctant to help the Red Queen, of course, as we all know why. The whole kidnapping your family, does not necessarily put you into the good graces of people. But the Queen claims that she wants forgiveness, for everything that she's done, and she really needs his help. And the Queen wants the rabbit to portal all over the realm and to spread the news that she intends to defeat Jafar and to win back Wonderland for the people, and that they need to, get ready to fight back and all that kind of stuff. And we also have the White Rabbit informing the Knave and the Red Queen that the battle with Jafar is going to be a little bit more difficult, because he has let the Jabberwocky loose, and the Red Queen is shaken and scared, and the Knave doesn't seem to really know what the Jabberwocky means, and so the Red Queen is still like, no matter what, because of this Jabberwocky being out there, she's even more convinced the plan will work. So get to it, White Rabbit. Start hopping all over the place. So the Red Queen and the Knave are, rushing to warn Alice and Cyrus of the Jabberwocky, but then all of a sudden, and we also learn through the Red Queen that the Jabberwocky zeroes in on fear. So if you're scared, the Jabberwocky can smell it, it's attracted to it, and all that kind of stuff. And so the forest goes quiet. And she's like, oh no. And so she demands Will to get back into the bottle. She hides the bottle, and then she starts, screaming out, I know you're here, come out, wherever you are. And she even uses her magic to turn a branch into a sword, which I thought was awesome. And the Jabberwocky starts to have a little bit of fun with the Red Queen, using her power to appear and disappear. And the Red Queen is frantic at this point. Then all of a sudden, the Jabberwocky appears, and the Red Queen, ends up stabbing the Jabberwocky into a tree. But the Jabberwocky, of course, cannot be killed with any simple blade. It has to be a very special blade, so she magics herself out of that situation. She taunts the queen, and the Jabberwocky grows tired of it, and so she ends up just headbutting the queen right before, telling her, I know where the bottle is. So she grabs the bottle, and she ends up taking the Red Queen back to the palace. So let's go with Alice and Cyrus. They've reached their destination, and they're in front of 2 red doors and a white knight. And the white knight is the gatekeeper, and he says a riddle, and it confuses them. And so Cyrus is like, well, let's just go around the doors. But there's even though it appears as if there's nothing on the other side, there's like a magical force field type of wall type of thing. And so Alice, of course, is good at riddles, and she coaxes some information out the knight, and she realizes that the White Knight is a liar. And so by asking the White Knight some simple yes or no questions, she deduces which door is the proper door, because one door will take you to the Well of Wonder and the other door will take you under. So she opens the proper door, the White Knight disappears, and both of them were going to head inside to the Well of Wonders, but Cyrus basically is like, Alice, please, let me do this myself. Come on, Alice, let me do it. He even snaps at her and everything, and Alice is like, okay, I'll wait here, and Cyrus ends up heading into the well. And let's continue this on so we can just get everyone's take on everything that happens at the well. So Cyrus enters, and he plays around with the water, and the ring chick pops up again, and he's like, oh, it's you again. And he's basically like, I understand what I did, all this time, granting wishes and the desires of selfish people. I understand. I apologize. I was a fool for doing what I did. I apologize for breaking the rules. And he explains, please, help me, help my brothers, help, remove this curse. And she ends up saying that if he ends up returning the water stolen from the well, the curse can be lifted. And Cyrus is like, that's impossible. My mother died ages ago. But the Guardian tells the former genie basically that his mother is alive. So he needs to return the water if he wants the curse lifted. And then she lowers back into her enchanted jacuzzi. Alice overhears everything, and she's basically like, why didn't you tell me anything? And Cyrus basically says, I didn't want you to know, this fault, and I didn't want you to know that all of this was basically his fault, because of his actions. And Alice basically is like, everyone makes mistakes, and they share a nice little sort of bonding moment together. What I thought was weird in this scene is when they opened the door, there was like a clear path to the well. Like all you had to do was go straight down. But both Cyrus and Alice, they came from like the side. It was kind of weird. Was I the only one that noticed this? Maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like once they opened the door, there was like a clear path straight to the well. But both of them, when they appeared, they came from like the side, and they like had to make a left to go to the well. It was weird. I was like, why don't you just go down the path? But anywho, so let's talk about Cyrus and the well and the White Knight and the Red Queen's encounter with the Jabberwocky in the forest.
I want to say I really like the reference to like the riddle of the honest and dishonest guards, like the two guards, two riddles, like not two guards, two doors, like that. I love that. Like that was a great reference, and I kind of like how the liar in this case kind of like reminds me of the old silly White Knight in Through the Looking Glass, like. It makes sense, considering the Jabberwockies there, that we'd get more characters from the book itself. As for like other stuff, like, gosh, like I loved seeing the Red Queen be brave. I felt so bad for her when like all of the forest goes silent. I'm like, she's gonna have to be the one that faces up to the Jabberwocky because Will won't be able to do it. And you can see that she's like trembling in fear. But she still like uses a sword, which is something that she's not good at, to go up against like this person. And she would have succeeded had this sword been the Vorpal sword, like, but it's not, and she gets screwed. Like, I don't know. Like, I loved the riddle and I loved the Red Queen. Like these are both like integral, like amazing parts of this episode.
Brittany.
I have to agree with Priscilla. I think my favorite part is definitely the Red Queen. She wants forgiveness from the rabbit, and I love that. One of the things I said last episode was she needs to prove that she's sorry. She needs to prove that she's trustworthy. Because I know she's not entirely evil. I don't think she ever was. Even at the beginning, when she pushes Cyrus off in the pilot, I'm like, there's got to be more depth. There's got to be, something. And I don't think she's truly evil like Jafar. Even though Jafar didn't start off evil either. But it's one thing to know and it's one thing to show. And after she betrayed Will and after she's done all this stuff to Alice, and the rabbit as well, he tells her, and I love that he doesn't hold back. He's like, you kidnapped my family, you kept them from me. And she's like, I can't do anything to make up for it, but I can start with saying sorry. And to be honest, there's a lot of I don't want to say like I know personally, but there are people that it takes so much out of them to just say I'm sorry, and sometimes they never do. Some people, even if they want to change, they won't admit that they made a mistake or that they fucked up royally. And I admire her for that. She's really trying to make amends. She's really trying to change. She's understanding that the life she chose is not entirely what she wanted, especially because Will wasn't with her. So I love that she's going through this redemption arc, and I'm totally on board for that. And then the Jabberwocky just strikes fear into her, and you see her like heavy breathing, and she's freaking out, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my god, like our group is separated, and I don't think the queen can defend herself. And I want to say, seeing the Jabberwocky get out of the sword being impaled in her was fucking like, that was like some Exorcist shit. Like, that was awesome. I was like, damn, she didn't even like get the sword out of her, she pulled herself out of the sword. Like, that's some I don't know how this is on ABC Family, like some fucked up stuff, but really, really awesome. And then with Cyrus and Alice, I love that Cyrus kind of tells Alice, you know, I need to do this alone. And you know what? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you need to face something, face your own demons. And I like that he's like, Alice, butt out a little bit. But I'm glad they resolved their issues and they talked it out like a mature couple. She could have been like, "Why didn't you tell me? Oh my God, we have lies. How can we get married if we have lies?" It's like, no, talk to me. You know. And he's like, "I was ashamed. I brought this upon myself." And she's like, "You're a good person. Don't worry, we're gonna save your brothers and we're gonna make it up." And I was like, I like this. This is a mature way to get rid of relationship drama in one episode. Fantastic. I liked all of that.
You know, when you were talking about like the beginning with the Red Queen kind of like saying like I'm sorry. I'm just gonna throw some shade like at the mothership. They could have done this with Regina. They could have had her like be like, you know what, I'm sorry, and just be a better person. But no, they had to pull this stupid season 6 Jekyll and Hyde bullshit. Like this is how you do a redemption arc. In one season, in one episode, they've done better.
I agree. I do think though Regina is probably a few steps ahead of the Red Queen of being more evil. I don't think Anastasia ever wanted like revenge or to hurt people. She just wanted the crown.
I don't think she slaughtered villages.
Yeah, I think she just wanted the comfortable life and with riches. Like she wanted to have that life, but she didn't want to kill people. But I also believe that she is the prime example of what happens when an innocent, actually a pretty normally good person gets corrupted by power, and surrounds herself with the riches instead of love. And she kind of forgets about it, but she didn't forget. She just kept it buried deep inside her. And the exterior we saw is the Red Queen. And that's why she's like, you know what? I do want to be queen still, but I want to be the queen, the right queen. I don't want to just be queen. And that is awesome redemption. And I don't think Regina had that. And that's why 6 seasons later, she's still, or 5 seasons later, she's struggling with that. While we got Anastasia here, like owning up to her shit. And I love it. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Not to throw shade, but Jess only learned about throwing shade and reading a couple of episodes ago.
Wow! Oh my God!
Yeah,
how did you not know?
But Jess then ended up throwing shade at some of the characters a couple times, and it was really good. But Jess, since I have conjured you up, give me your take on the Jabberwocky and the Red Queen in the forest, and what would you have done?
I'm so glad that you started that off by mentioning that I've thrown shade. That was actually the perfect introduction because, oh my God, I love Anastasia usually. Like, usually I'm just like, oh, like, I completely understand her reasoning and whatever, and she's not a bad person. She just got caught up in the circumstances that she was plopped into. But this episode, she just, she plucked a nerve repeatedly. And it was like, this is your fault. This is your fault. You're stupid. You deserve this. You're stupid. Why? Why are you doing this? You're dumb. I could not with her this episode. Like, and I don't even know what it is because, like, she tried, but it's like, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you throw if you know that you're being watched, because she could clearly feel the Jabberwocky around her, because she freaks out before Will even knows something's wrong, so obviously she knows she's being watched. She puts the bottle somewhere, like, within her line of sight, so obviously the fucking Jabberwocky can see it too. Obviously, she's gonna get her hands on it. Like, damn, why didn't you make a wish for him to be like, I wish you and your bottle were somewhere only I could find?
Because then all she'd have to do is torture her and get her to wish for him to come back.
But like, or something like that. But even so, like, I wasn't a fan of the things that they did, because Anastasia knows what happens when she makes those 3 wishes. And to me, she was just really weak this episode. Like, I don't care if they're holding hot coals to her feet. She knows what happens to Will. She knows what happens to Wonderland if she makes those 3 wishes and Jafar gets his hand on the genie. I understand that she was being, she was up against the Jabberwocky, and that's not necessarily fair at all in the most extreme sense. But damn, like, this show focuses so much on true love and like how true love conquers all. It just was not ringing true with me. I was so disappointed in her because I thought after all of her, speech making about wanting to be the queen that Wonderland deserves and wanting to make up for her past transgressions, that she would put up more of a fight instead of just kind of going down with the ship. And I understand what she was up against. It just didn't impress me. I'm sorry.
Wow, I completely disagree.
Yeah, I do too.
No way, dude.
Burn the witch.
I think that nobody. I even think if Alice was in that cage with Cyrus instead of Anastasia and Will, I don't even think the love between Cyrus and Alice would have been able to withstand that. And I think I agree that once upon a time the universe does give us that moral of like, true love conquers all. But I don't think it's really true love conquers all. I think it's that true love is strong and it does overcome things or situations, but it also gives a sense of realism that sometimes it's not really a magical thing, that you have something evil that is trying to break you, and it doesn't matter if you have love in you. This thing is so strong physically, mentally, it's breaking you. It kind of reminds me of when I go for a run and I know my limit is like, let's say like 2 miles, and I want to do the 3rd mile, like I'm dying, and I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to lose some weight or whatever, and I'm going to make that 3rd mile. It's hard. And I think the Jabberwocky, after watching her break Jafar in like 3 minutes, I was really surprised that Anastasia lasted as long as she did. And bravo, that scene was so fucking good. It was so good, and I felt everything she was feeling. I think I would have broke too. I think I could love someone so much, but I think everyone has a breaking point. And
completely agree. Like,
it's just damn. Like I didn't want to see Anastasia like be like, well, I love Will so much, I'm gonna pull through this. I wanted to see that the way that she loves Will is that she's crying. You see her breaking, and when you see someone breaking like that, like that's how you know that their feelings are genuine. And and that I think was enough for me to know. Even a couple episodes ago when they had that reunion and she's like, this is why I wanted the genie to, erase time or go back in time to get Will back. Like, that was beautiful. But this scene just showed everything, how she tried to fight as long as she could, but she couldn't. And it was heartbreaking, but it was like a sense of realism that sometimes, you can love someone, but man, if they're at you with like a gun or a knife, like you might break.
Maybe, honestly, to me, it's just maybe because everybody else, their backstories were explored and fleshed out a little bit more. For Anastasia, yeah, okay, her mom was mean and the prince didn't choose her to get married and she feels bad because she doesn't have her mom's approval. Okay, those are your deepest, darkest fears? Go home.
That's the thing, though. Like, I don't think you're getting the fact that her fear isn't necessarily those childhood fears. It's that she's never going to get approval, that she's never going to get her love back. And those are dark fears. Like, as much as you're like, well, like, go home, like, they're small. Like, those are big fears to people. So,
I understand that. I just don't care.
Like,
oh God.
Oh.
No, I think
I think it's
cold.
just I understand like the basis of those fears.
You're officially Brittany's offspring.
I was See, we talked about this. We said that I was the love child of Priscilla and Brittany, and it has finally come to be. Mommies, aren't you proud of
When
me?
when was this said? When what?
Oh, you
How
guys,
did I know?
you guys weren't here.
Oh my god. I think that right now
Now who's mommy?
I think the fears of Anastasia are. I think it stays with her a little bit with mommy issues, but I think overall right now is that she's gonna be alone without Will. I think. I think after everything she's been through, she just wants Will. Yeah, she had her kingdom. Yeah, she had everything. But that's the point, right? Why did she want the genie? It was because she wanted Will by her side. She wasn't gonna be happy until she had Will, and I think also her love for Will triumphs anything about her mother.
But
You
Britt,
know?
why didn't she? What part of her situation didn't she do to herself? She had Will. She chose to become a queen instead. You can't. And maybe that's why I'm not quite clicking with this particular plot line, because you can't magic away a big mistake like that. You have to pay for what you've done. You have to suffer
Well,
the consequences.
that's what she's learning right now. That's why that's the first step when she goes to the rabbit. She could have been like, "Rabbit, I'm here. Do me a favor." She kneels down and she's like, "I've come to ask for your forgiveness." Like she's trying to make amends, and Will's with her because Will too. Will's been just fucking saying shit to her like she's not gonna do it. She ain't gonna do shit. And the thing is, he's forgetting that she was always a good person, but her one mistake, her one seduction, or when she was seduced into the riches, really devastated and broke everything. And it's just Anastasia was not always a bad person, but she did fall into a trap of riches and it changed her. She got corrupted by it. So that's why I love that after she got all of that, she was still unhappy. And
it's kind of a running theme with Once Upon a Time that power corrupts absolutely. That like you have people like Rumple, who was like once like a coward, like turning into like this bully. You have someone like Regina, who was like a good person and a good princess, like completely turned and is like just turns into a bad sister and a bad mother for like a whole season. Like, so to see this in Anastasia, like someone who's downtrodden, who's like told by their mother that they're never going to be like good and like as good as the other stepsister, turned into like this queen who just doesn't give a shit about anybody else, like, and to realize like at a certain point that no, I miss my love, I miss like my old life, and I want to go back to how things were, but I can't change things anymore. Like I can't. I realize that even if I like get the power to change, like to break magic and to go back to the past, why would I? Like it's not going to change like everything completely. So she's making amends, and she's suffering for like the choices that she's made. But I love the fact that she's fighting it. I guess like that at the end, like you can see like it's like pulling teeth with her to get her to say, I want my crown and I want my jewels, and she doesn't mean it. Like she's
that's what I like,
into saying this.
Yeah, that at the beginning in the pilot, or like in the beginning of her backstory, she wants the jewels. She wants all that stuff. And here she can wish it, and the Jabberwocky's telling her, wish for it. You want it. She doesn't want it, but she wants to make sure Will, is safe, and she wants the suffering to stop. And I love that. They use the things she wanted before, like to their advantage, and she doesn't want them anymore. Oh, that was brilliant scene.
Yeah.
So she wasn't conscious that he was going to suffer more when she made those wishes, and he ended up with Jafar. Like that's the part that I don't understand. So
okay, if you're seeing somebody you love being tortured in front of you, are you gonna stop it, or are you gonna let them be tortured in front of you? It's like
Jess, imagine it's an ex-boy bander.
Yeah, that's true. What if Barry? Oh wait, no, that
realize
was
also that she wasn't allowed.
Never mind. I was gonna say if Barry Allen was in front of her being tortured and crying, she wasn't gonna like wish anything. But it's true. No, I think that's a theme in a lot of movies, that when you see somebody you love being tortured in front of you and you have the power to stop that, I think you're gonna stop it.
She made it worse.
How is it worse?
because now he's with Jafar. Now Jafar has exactly what he wants.
Well, yeah, but I mean, are you gonna watch the person you love be tortured in front of you? I mean, like, come on. I would have done the same thing as her. It's like you have the power to stop somebody from being hurt, only because the bigger picture. Yes, it's worse, but in front of you, you're seeing someone you love being tortured. Like,
Not to mention that she can't say anything else. Like remember, she tried to wish for them to go away,
and
but she got shut up by Jafar.
Yeah,
so
that's
the
true.
only thing she can say is what they allow her to say.
Yeah, she had her hands tied, I think, in this predicament, and I agree. I know what she did was ultimately what Jafar wanted, but what she had to deal with what she had, and it was sucky. And I love that Will too. Will was like, but they always do that, right? No, don't do it for me. You have to stay strong. But it's like, boy, I can't stay strong. This chick is whispering some demonic shit in my ear, and you're breaking, and it's pretty intense. That's why I just
see her at the very end. She looks like a rag doll. Like she
still looks hot.
Like
she does look really good though.
Yeah, when my hair looks like that, I don't look like her. But
oh my gosh,
she look good. Like, but I mean, I just
beautiful.
Yeah, that entire scene though with Jafar looking, I was like, man, Jafar's probably getting a kick out of this on the side. Like, it was a really good scene, really intense scene, and it's just damn. And this is all for like Will. Will was watching this too. Like, oh man. Oh, I wonder how we would have felt if it was Cyrus and Alice, but this was just more heartbreaking with the Red Queen, who was trying to make amends, just like a scene right before that. And she, man, oh, really good writing.
So let's just go over really quick the final scene, and then I want to get everyone's take on how the stakes have changed and how the game has been reset. So the Red Queen and the Knave wake up in one of Jafar's bird cages. He loves the Iago style cages, and Jafar is taunting them. He brings out the Jabberwocky, and as you guys have sort of gotten into this, the Jabberwocky is threatening to break the queen down. She even says, little pig, let me in. And before she can wish Jafar away, Jafar silences her, and the Jabberwocky starts playing her psychological mind games, and she starts going in room through room inside of the Red Queen's brain and pulls out all of her fears and insecurities, especially the fear of never being loved again. And, going through and mentioning how the prince chose her stepsister and all this kind of stuff, she ends up getting the queen to start wishing for things, and the first thing that she wishes for is for her crown, and then she wishes for her jewels, and then she wishes for her to stop. And then once she does the final wish, Will goes back into the bottle. And it's really a sad and disturbing scene to see this woman who is like in power to be like broken down to the core.
Honestly, it's torture.
It was a mindfuck. Yeah, and later on in her cell, the queen, still shell-shocked, has a visit from her loyal Tweedle, and he still considers her his queen, but she basically, is like, go tell Alice and Cyrus what has happened about the Jabberwocky, that she failed, and that he needs to tell them to flee. Because Jafar has all 3 bottles and there is no longer any hope. And so the episode ends with a shot of Jafar uniting all 3 genie bottles in front of his spell book as the earth begins to shake with the power of what he's about to do. So, good grief, what a way to end the episode. And obviously, there are more episodes left. There are 13 episodes in this series, and this is episode 10. And Jafar already has everything he needs to make what he wants to happen, which this is kind of like something you would expect in like the season finale. So obviously this is setting up for a brand new game for the final episodes. Like, what did everyone sort of think just about like the end result, and especially let's talk a little bit about that scene with the Red Queen and her Tweedle, because I thought that was a really powerful scene to like see her so shaken up after everything that's happened.
I thought it was sweet. I don't know.
Like, the guy gets shaken up too because he's never seen his queen like this. Like, he's like, I'm. It's kind of like he had it assumed that she's his queen. No matter what she does or says, he's gonna listen to her, as opposed to his brother. Like, but she's broken, like, beyond repair. She's just kind of like, no matter what I do, like, no matter what anyone does now, Jafar's won. That's it. Like, and this is the same woman who's like, the game isn't done yet, darling. Like, I like, people always like look to the queen, and like, she's always referring to stuff as the game. So it's astounding to see like the player admit defeat.
Yeah, and I think what's key in that scene is how she's like, he's there and he brings her food. Like, I mean, it's all just really heartbreaking. But she tells him, go find Alice, go find Cyrus, tell him to get out. And, you two, go with him too, like, save yourself because we've lost. And he's like, well, what about you? She's like, leave me here. And, I mean, if that doesn't say character growth or, character depth, I don't know what is, because I've always thought when we got the flashbacks of Anastasia, she's always been a good person. Otherwise, I don't think Will would have fallen in love with her. I just think she made a really huge mistake. Really big mistake. Don't tell, I'm not like, downplaying that. But, she went from that Anastasia to the Red Queen to now being, I guess, Anastasia again, but also with a mix of the Red Queen. Like, she has both, she's both of them. But, like, the best she could, like, what potentially she could have been as the Red Queen. Caring about the people, caring about her friends, and caring about Will and having Will with her. And the servant, she probably slapped him a couple times, faithful servant, and she tells him, why are you here, but go save yourself. And he's horrified. He's like, oh my god, like, this is not the queen I've known. But it was so sweet and really, really heartbreaking to see Anastasia just give up. But I understood why. She was just tortured and she's done. She's just, I'm done. I have no fight left in me. That was so heartbreaking to see.
Yeah.
Jess, do you want to bitch at to the Red Queen some more?
No, I'm over it.
Okay.
I don't care enough.
Oh my god, Jess, you're the best. I love you. You're awesome.
Thank you, mommy number 2.
Oh gosh, that's so creepy.
Look.
Now you know how I feel.
So I guess one of you is Regina and the other one's Emma.
What?
And Jess is Henry.
No, she is awesome. She could never be Henry.
Thank you. I was just about to say, I really don't, I don't want to insult the kid, but
You're gonna insult the kid.
I don't think that I could live with those genes. I mean, they work very nicely on him, but genetically speaking, for me, I don't think that that would work.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll grow into his face one day. He'll probably be super handsome, and when I'm old, I'll be like, damn, he is super cute, but right now it's just like...
Cringing vagina.
Well, to be fair, he's like 12, so... I mean, my vagina should be cringing anyway, but like those features, though, I don't want them on my face.
Oh god, what would you like on your face?
Barry Allen.
A good mix of features?
Barry Allen. Oh my god.
Wait,
crying.
You can be quiet. You can like Oliver Queen on your face. Like we know this already.
Why can't I just be on his face? Like, that just sounds like it would be better for me.
Either way.
Jess.
I think either way you would enjoy it, just saying.
Yeah, that's true. As long as he was crying, I don't really care.
Oh my god. This is why Jess didn't care about the torture scene. She likes torture. She's a sadist. She's a sadist.
It doesn't move
Her
me.
last name is Gray.
Oh god.
True.
Don't look me up on Facebook. I won't add
Oh my gosh. Oh god, I don't know how we can get it away from this. Let's just do the MVP. Good grief. Jess, you've derailed us.
I'm sorry. That always happens. This is why you shouldn't cast me in any more of your shows.
Gosh, that's why I'm going to make you be on all of them, starting in the fall.
Okay. So, my MVP for this episode...
Wait, I didn't pick you.
Wait, I thought you said Jess, and I said... because you said Jess, you derailed. Oh. Now I'm
gosh.
sad.
Aw, well, you'll go after me, because I want to go first, because I don't want anybody to take it.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so my MVP for the episode is, and I gotta do it, and I apologize, because it's probably on at least one or two of you's list, but I have to take the Jabberwocky. I mean, she was just so good. That scene in the forest, that scene where she's, as Priscilla mentioned, like slinking on the throne, like that scene, that extended scene with Anastasia where she just breaks her down. Like, I mean, the Jabberwocky is on fire in a good way. She's an outstanding villain, creepy as fuck. Just like the way she talks, like the way she... I don't know, it's just like everything about the Jabberwocky is spectacular. There's just no other way to put it. Like what she did to the man, you know, the idea that she took the freaking eyeballs out. I mean, it's just everything about the Jabberwocky is fantastic. So shout out to the Jabberwocky. Since Jess is crying right now, Barry Allen tears, let's let Jess go next.
That would be a nice experience. I would want to go last if that was... But anyway, let's not derail. My MVP for this episode is definitely... oh my gosh, what is her name? Nyx. I wanted to call her the Lady of the Lake.
She was on my list. What were you going to call her?
I wanted to call her the Lady of the Lake when I saw her, and then I was like, wait, that's the wrong tale, my friends. But no, I really liked her. I think that she is an interesting character. I thought that they did an amazing job with her makeup because I was actually scared. I was like, if that...
Just had nightmares.
I did! But, okay, to be fair, I used to get nightmares from Touched by an Angel, so...
Yes, Delarice is scary.
I don't think that I'm the best person to, like, use as a barometer as to what could give you nightmares, but they did a fantastic job with creating this terrifying character that really is not good or evil. She's just kind of a neutral agency that's like, yo, like, you can't take things that aren't yours, put it back. Like, that's what you get for being a thief, and I don't really care because you brought this unto yourself, and I'm just like, man, I like you. I agree with you. Let's be buddies.
Yes.
She wants to be buddies with the Kraken monster or whatever the fuck she is. Wow. Jess,
Maybe I could be a mermaid.
you're one of me.
Jess, you are a mermaid.
Thank you.
It explains everything, even your faux red-haired dye job.
A mermaid or a siren?
Ooh.
She could be both. She does like to lure men to their doom.
Which one gets people to cry saltier, nicer tears? Siren, right? I'm gonna go with Siren.
Well, on that note, Brittany, your MVP, please.
Oh my god.
With salty tears.
I'm gonna have to give it to Alice. I think, I mean, I loved the other plot that was going on with the Jabberwocky, but on a smaller scale, in the subplot with Cyrus and Alice, she was the one to break the riddle. I mean, I think we spent a lot of, like, the first 4 episodes talking about how awesome Alice is, because she's not just, you know, Alice in Wonderland. She literally is her own character, and she's smarter than we think. She tricked us in, like, the first or second episode. She tricked everybody, you know, and she's intelligent, she's smart, she's witty, and she has some interesting skills up her sleeve that we haven't seen or we have seen, and in this episode she figures out the riddle. And I'm really bad at riddles, by the way. If you tell me one, I'm just terrible at jokes and riddles, but she was able to figure it out, and if it wasn't for her, Cyrus wouldn't have done anything. They wouldn't have gone anywhere, and she figured it out. And I think it was a really good thing for Alice to shine again, because she is the main character. And I felt like last episode they didn't really do her justice, but this episode I think we got a little bit of old Alice back, and I really enjoyed that.
And Priscilla.
Thank God nobody took my pick. I'm picking the Red Queen.
Ah.
Holy
Good
I
choice.
am so shocked I didn't see that coming.
Oh my gosh.
It will
She's
almost-
turning into the Katie
Yeah.
of this season.
I really,
For those that don't follow the mothership, Katie usually always picks Emma.
to be fair though, Katie is always picking the Red Queen before me. Like anytime you pick her before, she always picks the Red Queen. So there, like but come on,
Oh, right now.
You have this person who like is being tortured and still kind of like wants to hold on to things. You have this person who's owning up to like somebody that she overpowered, a little tiny white rabbit, and is kneeling to him and saying sorry. You have this person who knows that she's not good with swords and knows that like she could easily just like give like the genie and the wishes away right away and be fine, but she doesn't do it. She stands up and fights. Like I love her, and you get to see more of her like by like revealing her fears, by revealing that like she still thinks of like herself as the little girl who like wasn't good enough for like the mom, and she still thinks that she's never gonna find love. And didn't we just see like her last episode not have anyone in the kingdom like be like agree for like to ransom for her, and she realized that she has no one to rely on? So to stand up to all of this anyway and to try and be a better person, like come on, that's a great character. Like I love Regina, but she totally like eclipsed her this episode.
Now it's time to rate the episode from 1 to 10 on a mushroom scale. The point system is allowed, and of course, if you deem this episode exceptional, worth more than 10, you may grant it a golden mushroom. So we'll go in reverse order and start off with Priscilla.
I'm gonna give it a 10. It's not good enough for a golden mushroom. Like when it was a golden mushroom, like it moved me. It was great. But this was a good episode. Like it ticked off all the marks. You didn't have shitty CG this time around. Like you had stories like close in, and like just the flashbacks were great. Like everything about this was a good episode. 10 out of 10 gold mushrooms. Not gold mushrooms, regular mushrooms.
Brittany, I know that you hate mushrooms, but you need to hook us up with how many mushrooms you would give this episode.
I'm gonna give it a gold mushroom, man. I think this episode just like the payoff was fantastic. They gave us a tease last episode of what the Jabberwocky could do, and I was like, okay, I see what you did to Jafar. How far are they gonna take this villain to our heroes? Like, what are we gonna expect in this episode? And they absolutely exceeded expectations. I think that was the strongest plot of the episode, and I did like the flashbacks. I think we saw a different Cyrus. We got a lot of backstory about the other genies, and then the reveal of their mother, and that Cyrus isn't some kind of prince. He actually has, his past secrets, and he's trying to own up to them. We got some relationship drama with Alice and him, but they resolved it. They worked together, and like it's really interesting to see that in the Once Upon a Time universe where they're actually being mature in a relationship. And it's also considering that Cyrus and Alice are very young. I would say maybe like in their early 20s, and they're being mature about it, and they're trying to work together. And the Red Queen going through the torture and trying to get redemption, like all of this stuff is made for a golden mushroom. Definitely.
I love how you say that the genie's like early 20s. Like, dude, he's early 2000s.
He looks like a 20, whatever.
Oh my. And we know you love a good tease,
Of course.
Brittany.
Oh, you
Yes.
know it. You know it.
Oh God. Okay, I am going to agree with one of you.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, I thought I was going to get a Brittany gasp.
Well, it's if you choose Priscilla, you get the gasp.
Okay, and I agree with Brittany.
Oh,
I guessed too. That was a surprise.
I know that's good. I grant this episode a frickin' golden mushroom for all the reasons that Brittany said and more. I mean, the Red Queen breaking down, the Jabberwocky, Jafar being a merciless villain, Jafar's hair, the bitch from The Ring making a cameo, Amara's bosoms, the stop it. Stop.
Okay.
The fantastic flashbacks, the wet t-shirt contest, how that bitch from The Ring isn't wet, but she's in water, the White Knight, the riddles, the turning a branch into the sword. I mean, it just had everything that I could expect and so much more. I mean, it had my homeboy, the White Rabbit. I mean, you know I love the White Rabbit. It was fantastic. I could not have asked for anything more. It was a strong episode. It was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, Jess, you now have a choice. Will you agree with the right side, or will you agree with Priscilla? Or
I said the right side and Priscilla, so like obviously my side is the right side.
oh
Thank
gosh. Or will you come up with something on your own?
Right. I feel like an asshole for doing this.
Oh my god, we're gonna block Jess.
But, okay. Cyrus and that whole plot with Nyx and his backstory and his brothers and his mom, cool. That gets 8 mushrooms from me. 8 fried and or grilled mushrooms. Whatever. But the crap with the Red Queen and Will, that gets like 2 raw mushrooms. I'm not ecstatic about that, but whatever.
Raw mushrooms can be good on a salad, though.
Well, you know, it really depends. I mean, if somebody gave me raw mushrooms on a salad, I'd be like, I did not sign up for this vegan shit. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm leaving. I need some meat.
So what is it? Is it an 8 or a 2? I'm confused.
I'm like splitting. Can I just like split it
No.
up and like put the good stuff in one mushroom?
Jess,
plate
you
and
do
the-
not have 3 genies. You may not break the laws of magic.
9 mushrooms, but those last 2 are rotten, disgusting, sad, wilting, forever alone mushrooms. And
Yes!
I-
9 out of 10.
I mean,
And 2 golden.
I feel like Jess gave those mushrooms because of peer pressure, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
but the last 2 are rotten and wilting and lonely and forever alone and probably
You can
taste like-
still make a good
okay.
stew.
They can be forever alone together. It's like that song.
It's because I'm glaring
I
at
don't know
Jess's
that
picture.
song.
That's why she did it.
There's a picture.
Yes, I'm
Oh
staring
my
at your
gosh.
picture.
Oh,
I'm glaring at it.
okay. Are you proud of me?
No.
Okay.
Search for Jess Gray,
Oh,
listeners.
I am. I'm proud of you, Jess. Good job.
thank you, Priscilla. I have a new favorite parent. The rest of you can just leave.
Go to your room.
No.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Let's get the train back on the track because it's time to get a little spoilery. Let's dive into some Easter eggs featured in this week's episode of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland and the Once Upon a Time television universe. This is an official spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Please check out our official Facebook like page by visiting facebook.com/Storybrooke Weekly Mirror. Let's start off with the ratings. Ratings for this episode when it originally aired on March 13th, 2014. It was viewed by 3.22 million viewers. So let's get the title card out the way. It featured The Well of Wonders. So So, a couple of Easter eggs for this episode. When Cyrus wins the card game, he lays down his cards, which all look the same, and says capo, which is Italian for, it could either be head, boss, chief. When Jafar uses Lizard's eyes to view the last person her eyes saw after death, he casts a spell, Devisu Inteuri Visionare Revelare, which is Latin for look out of sight, reveal vision. Ooh. Now, this episode features a rendition of the Aladdin story, featuring the origins of the genie, and it also includes the evil sorcerer from the same story. And once again, of course, this includes characters from Alice in Wonderland, such as Alice, the Knave of Hearts, Lizard, and the White Rabbit, as well as the Red Queen, Jabberwocky, and Tweedledum, and the White Knight from the story's sequel, Through the Looking Glass. The line spoken by the Jabberwocky, little pig, let me in," is a reference to the wolf from The Three Little Pigs. And as Cyrus and his brothers celebrate the victorious card game, Cyrus orders mahia for everyone in the bar. Mahia means water of life and is a traditional drink of Morocco and is made from dried figs and anise seeds. It is traditionally distilled, though. And the Well of Wonders is a redressed version of the gazebo that Philip and Aurora have a picnic under in the Once Upon a Time episode New York City Serenade, which is the mid-season premiere of season 3. One of
shit, we're gonna pay for it. We're gonna use it.
Exactly. We built it. We're going to use it 20 billion times. One of Cyrus's brother's genie lamps is the same prop as the genie's lamp from the episode Fruit of the Poisonous Tree, which was way back in season 1. It was episode 11 of season 1, except it has differently colored jewels. When Jafar opens the Book of Spells, one of the pages contains characters from the reconstruction of the mysterious Emerald Tablet, one of the pillars of Western alchemy, and said to be inscribed with the secrets of the universe. One interpretation suggests that the inscription describes 7 stages of alchemical transformation: calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation. Curiously, many of the characters in Jafar's book are mirror inverted. Below those characters, though, there is a Latin excerpt from Ars Grammatica, which is a 4th century Roman grammarian and teacher of rhetoric. It says, "Vit docte comparativi ut doctius superlativ." I'm not even going to read all that shit. It's a whole bunch of stuff in Latin, basically.
Oh my god! Can I see what it says? Like,
yes, I'll copy and paste it into the chat, and Jess can read it afterwards.
No, thank you. I don't want to accidentally summon something.
Okay, well. So those are all the Easter eggs that I have. So on that note, join us next time for a brand new installment of Storybrooke Weekly Mirror in Wonderland. Visit the Papi Chulo Radio archives to download this episode and many more. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of this series through iTunes. Just search for Storybrooke Weekly Mirror in Wonderland and subscribe. Please like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Storybrooke Weekly Mirror. You can also like Papi Chulo Radio on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Papi Chulo Radio. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/Papi Chulo Radio. Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com with any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Co-hosts, please wish the listeners a good night.
good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific throughout the summer for a brand new installment of Storybrooke Weekly Mirror in Wonderland. Good night.